Now we will see one application by means of this KNN. I'm going to import a data set known as car evaluation data set. And with the help of KNN, we are going to classify. Okay, it is actually a classification problem. We will see whether it is binary classification or multi-class. Now let me import the necessary libraries. I have imported pandas. Then I'm reading the data set. I have downloaded the data set from Kaggle. You can do it. And here I am reading the data set. I'm storing it in a data frame called data. And then I'm printing the first 5 rows in the data frame with the help of head function. So these are all the 5 rows. If you see, I have features with the v high 0.1, 2, 2.1, and so on. The column name is not clearly given. So if you see the description of the data set, you will identify what all the columns they have given. Once you go to the description, those information will be available. After seeing that, I am assigning names for the column. Since it is not assigned, I am assigning the names. So to assign the names for the column, you can give data.columns is equal to pass a list of names. For the first column, this column is related to the buying capacity, buying price, not the buying capacity, buying price. So I'm giving buying. Then second column is related to maintenance price of the car. So maintenance. Third column is number of doors in the car. So it is doors. Fourth one is how many persons can sit in the car. So I'm giving names for each and every column. And if you consider the last column, that is nothing but what is the value, whether the value is felt as acceptable value, that is nothing but the price, whether customers are feeling that as acceptable price or unacceptable price, and so on. Okay, so these are all the columns. For all the columns, I have given the new names now. After that, I am displaying the first 5 rows. Now, if you see, column names are assigned for all the columns. So always when you download the data set, you try to give meaningful names to the column if it is not existing. But maximum data sets have the meaningful name only. No need to worry about that. Then I'm printing the shape of the data set. Here I have 1727 rows and then 7 columns in total. And I want to know about the information about the data set, like what is the data type of each and every column. So I'm giving now data.info. If you see this method is printing object as the data type for everything. So what is the meaning of object? It's nothing but all are treated as strings only in case of object. But if you go and see, number of doors is having integer only. Similarly, number of persons is also integer. But why it is giving object for that? You have to analyze the data set properly. Because some of the algorithms, if your data type of a particular feature is string, it will not work. But if you see this, you will identify that the data type is only integer. Okay, so for that only we are telling you, always find the data type of each and every attribute before you go for the analysis. Okay, so here I am printing the data type is now object for everything. So now let me print the description about the entire data set, where I will get information about 25%, 75%, then 50% quartile, minimum value, maximum value, and so on. If you see this, we are not getting all these descriptions, because if the data type is integer or otherwise float, you will get all those things. But now it is object. So only few which are related, like counting of the entries, how many unique values are present, then only those information will be displayed in this. Okay, so now from this also you can identify, even though here it is number, it is having some issue. Okay, now once you do that, let us, I'll come to this later. Now let us check what are the different class labels I have in my target class. So what is my target class? That is nothing but the column name with value. So in this, I have to check how many different class labels are present and how many, in each and every category, how many values are present. So for that, I can use something called as counter. Okay, so to this counter, if you want to use this counter, you have to import from collections. So from collections, you can import counter. And for this counter method, you pass the column. Which column you want to find now? The final column value. So it is available in the data frame data. So you pass data.value as input to this particular method. This will count how many unique values are present in that. If you consider, there are 4 unique values present. That is available here also. In the column value, unique value, number of unique values are 4. But we don't know which 4 unique values are present. Here it is printed. ACC, that is accepted, then good, then unacceptable, then very good. 4 unique values are present about the target class. And what does the first number indicate? In acceptable, there are 384 records with this particular target class. And out of the total records, 69 are with the target class good and so on. So count is also displayed in this. Okay, whenever you want to know whether your data set is balanced or imbalanced, balanced is nothing but all the classes are having equal number of records. And imbalance is nothing but some are having very high number of records and some are having low number of records. So you can identify that by means of this counting. Okay, so after that, you can even plot it as a graph so that it is easy for visualization. So from this graph, you can see that many of the customers having the target as unacceptable. Okay, and only very few are saying that it is very good. Okay, so you can even plot as a graph. Here I am plotting by means of plot, where I'm going to get histogram like bar chart for that. Okay, so because of this bar chart only, I'm giving kind is equal to bar. Then I'm giving title for this. Okay, so it is going to print the number of counts for each and every target class. So which I'm going to consider for this? If you consider from the data frame data, I am going to consider the column value. Okay, that is a target class. In that, I am going to count different values. So I'm using now value underscore counts. Then I'm going to plot them as a bar plot, and this is the title for that particular graph. So since we have 4 different classes, for every 4 class, it is counting how many entries are there and plotting that as a bar graph. After that, now in each and every column, I want to find out what are the unique values associated with that particular column. Okay, so you have different columns. The first column name is buying. Okay, so I am passing this now. Data buying is nothing but the first column, buying column. In that, I am counting how many unique values are present. So I'm writing now dot unique. This is going to give me what are the unique labels present. It will not count anything. It will simply tell you what are the different unique labels present. But see this one, if here I'm not using unique, I'm using counter. Counter is going to give you in every unique value, how many times that particular value is appearing. Okay, so that is the advantage of counter. But unique will not count it. It will simply tell you what are the unique values present in that particular column. So print it for all the columns. If you consider in the dose column, we have seen here that the data type of the dose column is object. Okay, but there we had numbers only. Now let us understand why it is object. If you consider for the dose column, when I see the unique, it is telling me 2, 3, 4, 5 more. If you consider this 5 more, it is a string now. It is having letters also. Because of that only, the data type of this particular column is printed as object. Okay, so we will replace that 5 more with 5. Okay, because since it is a number, we are going to convert everything into number. So here it is showing that either 5 doors or otherwise more than 5 doors. Let me replace that by 5 only. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to take the data from data. In that, I'm going to take the attribute doors. I'm going to replace which column I'm going to replace with what value. The column, sorry, not column, which feature I'm going to display with what value. I'm replacing 5 more with 5. When I give in place is equal to true, it will replace in the same data set itself. If you don't give in place is equal to true, it will not be storing the value in the data set. Always, if you want to reflect it back in the data set, give in place is equal to true. And once you do that, you print data dose.unique. In this case, we are getting now 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 more is now changed to 5. Similarly, you check for the column persons. In persons, you display by means of unique. We are getting 2, 4, more. Because of this more only, the data type of unique is not given as integer, it is given as object. Now let us change that more into 5. So I am going to replace from the data frame data, the column called persons. I am going to replace wherever I have the value more, that will be now replaced with 5. Then I'm going to give in place is equal to true because it will be changing in the same data frame. After that, you print out what all the unique values you have. Now we are getting 2, 4, and 5. Similarly, you can do for the other columns. In the luggage boot column, we have small, medium, and then big. Then in the safety column also, we have medium, high, and low. 3 different values are present. So by this, we can analyze. And if we want to do any pre-processing, we can do this. We have done some pre-processing by replace function. Now, let us separate our data set into features and then target class. So my target class is only the last column. Other than that, All the remaining columns are my features. So I'm going to store all the features in the data frame called X. And then the last column I'm going to extract, that will be stored in Y. That is my target class. Then I'm displaying 10 rows in my X class alone. If you consider now the value column is not displayed, that is the target column is not displayed. Okay, so now after that, I'm going to do something called as label encoding. If you consider the columns buying, maintenance, and then lug boot, then safety, they have string as their values. Okay, and machine learning algorithms need integers or otherwise real value. They need only numeric data as a value. So you have to convert strings into numeric data. For that, you can go for label encoding. So first, I'm creating an object for the label encoder. Let the object name be ENC. After that, I'm going to take all these 4 columns like buying column, maintenance price column, luggage boot column, and then safety column. You convert all these into integers. For that, you have to apply the method fit underscore transform for all these 4 columns. First, I'm considering the column buying. It is in the data frame X. So I'm giving now X dot buying. I'm converting, and that is stored in X dot buying again. Similarly, convert for the remaining also X dot maint, then X dot luggage boot, then X dot safety. To convert everything in this, we are converting them into integers. Now let us see whether they are converted into integer or not. So here, if you see this is the output after that. If you consider buying is now converted into integer. Similarly, maintenance, lug boot, as well as safety also converted into integers. So once you do that, now you can check whether any null values are present by means of isNull.sum. Here, no null values are present. So it's fine. Now you can start training your algorithm. So for that, I'm going to use first train test split. In that, my data set will be splitted in the ratio 80:20. So I'm giving now test underscore size is equal to 0.2. Then if you give random underscore state is equal to some value, all the persons will be getting same set of data set for testing as well as training, and the order will be same. Otherwise, you may get some answer, I may get some answer. For that only we are setting this random underscore state is equal to 10. And once you do that, your data set is ready for testing as well as training. You have splitted it. Now call k nearest neighbor classifier. For that, let us see what is the package we have to import for this. Let us see the packages now. I skipped that before. Okay, so for label encoding, here I have imported label encoder from sklearn.preprocessing. And then for counting only, I have imported the collection where we have counted the unique entries. Okay, and then from sklearn.model selection, import train test split. Then from sklearn.neighbors, you have to import k neighbors classifier. Then since it is a classification model, we have to find the performance of the model by means of accuracy score and then confusion matrix. So I'm importing these two from sklearn.metrics. Now, let us see now the k neighbors classifier. So I'm calling k neighbors classifier. We need to pass how many nearest neighbors you are going to consider. For that, we have the parameter n underscore neighbors. You pass that as 5. And then you have to give what is the distance parameter you have to consider. Here it is nothing but Euclidean distance. So you check sklearn documentation and find out what are the other distance metrics available. Okay, here I'm selecting Euclidean distance. Then I'm calling k nearest neighbor classifier. This will develop the model. It is stored in the variable called model. After that, I am fitting the model by passing the x underscore train and then y underscore train. Once the fitting is over, then I'm going to do the prediction. So here the fitting is very simple in case of KNN classifier because model will not be developed. Okay, that is the parameters will not be developed. Then I'm going to predict the new testing sample by passing x underscore test to model.predict. And it will be giving me the classification label that I am storing in y underscore predict. After that, I need to find out what is the accuracy of this particular method. So I am calling accuracy underscore score. For this, we need to pass only the testing data set. You pass y test. Y test is nothing but actual label associated with the testing sample. And y underscore predict is what is the class label predicted by your classifier. Pass these two as the input to accuracy underscore score. it will give you the accuracy. Here it is 93.3% accuracy. And finally, you can print the confusion matrix. For that also, we need to pass again the two parameters, y underscore test and then y underscore predict, which are nothing but actual value and then predicted value. If you see this, the values are printed. As I already told you in the confusion matrix, it is always a square matrix with n cross n size. N is nothing but number of class labels in your target class. Here we have seen that in our target class, we have 4 labels. We have already seen in the beginning. So if you see the size of the confusion matrix, it will be a 4 cross 4 matrix. Okay. And always the diagonal of the confusion matrix will give you true positives. That is nothing but correct predictions. Okay. So diagonal is always going to give you correct predictions. You can use the diagonal for finding the accuracy, as well as you can calculate precision, recall, everything, right? And other than the diagonal, whatever elements we have, they are going to give you wrong classifications. Okay, because it is not a binary classifier, this is a multi-class classifier. Okay, so we can identify all these informations from here. What is the meaning of this row is, let us consider this value 2. What is the meaning is, it is going to tell you, it is in the row with index 0, column with index 1. It means that in the original data set, the class label is 0, but it is predicted as a class label 1. That is the meaning of this. And 66 is nothing but class label is 0, that is predicted as 0 correctly. Okay, so you can interpret various values like this. Now, you can even print with the help of Pandas cross tab. When you do that, you pass y test and then y predict, you will get like this. Is here I am telling you it is the index 0 and in the column also index 0. But if you are printing with the cross tab, you can easily access what is the class of that particular thing. For example, this 66 is nothing but actual class is ACC, acceptable, and predicted class is also acceptable. Then this 242 is actual class is unacceptable, predicted is unacceptable. Like that, you can interpret them. So we have applied KNN algorithm to find prediction of a classification problem. You can even apply this for regression problem also, guys. As I already told you, in case of regression, it will take the mean value of all the neighbors and will give you the predicted value. So with this, our KNN is over.